Wow. Oh, here we are again with another live stream. So whoever's here with me so far, welcome. This is the AvidAqua live broadcast, direct to you from Gilroy, California. So thank you so much, all of you AvidAqua fans out there. We, as a company, can't thank you enough for all the engagement, all of the exciting amount of stuff that you tell us online and tell us about the products and help us with the with the insight right here and everything else. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to introduce to you again kind of the insight a little bit and go over it, because I think there's a lot of people who still have not gotten all the ins and outs yet. Then we're going to show you some new stuff that we just are bringing out to the Insight. And after that, we've got a brand new product that we're going to be bringing to you, just releasing it out today, and you'll find it out online to purchase. And to do that, we're going to bring on the key people of Neptune Systems for this. Sorry, I said Neptune Systems. I knew that was going to come out. I didn't know if it was going to take 5 minutes or 95 seconds. And so I guess whoever had their bingo cards at 95 seconds got it right. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring in first and foremost the guy who makes all the digital stuff work. His name is Joe. Let me see if I don't blow this one and bring Joe online here. Joe, are you there?
I'm here, Terrence.
Oh, look, we can hear him and everything. That's so great. So, so happy to have you on the live stream, Joe. Is this the first AvidAqua live stream that you've been on?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Joe and I work together at Neptune Systems, and when I started concepting a digital product that we needed to have, it was Joe was the first one I thought of, and it was just kismet that Joe was in a situation where he could come and work with us and build amazing things. And he took over my infant of an idea, which hadn't even really done much, but prove a couple of possibilities, and turned it into what you guys all see out there right now. That's called the Insight. And, this thing would not exist if it was not for Joe. So all of us, especially me, very grateful to Joe for helping make that thing come alive. And today we're going to kind of introduce it to you. Joe's going to be here to help along the way, tell me the things that I've forgotten, tell me the cool things that the product has. But first, Joe, tell people a little bit about yourself and what makes you tick, what things you like to do technically, and also even outside of business, just so people get to know you a little bit.
Sure. Well, first off, thanks for the flattery. Some of you have maybe worked with me before on past projects. I'm a software engineer. I like to work on anything from hardware all the way up to the UI that you use in an app. I think the thing that drives me is kind of knowing that from first principles, there's a way to address things that might make a lot of complexities that we deal with in the reefing world a lot easier. And it seems to me that it's just a matter.
If I can interrupt you, so people kind of know, what does first concepts mean?
Sure. So first principles. So
first principles
thinking. I'll give you a really good example. So we might know as reefers that we got to go out and buy an auto top off for your first reef tank, because everyone tells you have to go buy an auto top off. Mm-hmm. But first principles thinking goes, why do we need an auto top off? What's the problem that we have, and what's the problem that we're trying to solve? And then instead of injecting what the common wisdom is there, that everyone has to solve everything through an auto top off, first principles goes, maybe there's another way. The end goal is that our water doesn't evaporate and that we need to do manual intervention, but maybe there's another way. So I do actually think that an auto top off is a pretty good solution to that. But as we come into reefing and right now we want to present things to you, catch your attention, things that you'll notice at a glance in your room. I think I really want to emphasize that we might not have all the best answers for these problems yet, and that exploration through the space is important to find what really works. I think oftentimes we don't appreciate what's good until we actually have it in our hands and we can use it. And it's really hard to imagine something that's good, but once you actually touch and use it, you just know. And I think Apple captures that the best when they talk about their magical experiences that they deliver. And I think that's really what inspires me when I try to build something from scratch.
Yeah, and to take from that, there's the connection to that first principles in marketing, which is so often you see products that are sold by their features, right? The thing that they do, not the problem they solve, right? The benefit. Why is this going to be important to somebody? And it's a huge misstep. And our approach, in my opinion, when you don't even know what you really wanted or needed until you get it in your hand. I think it's actually written on our website that it is something also in product marketing that you call customer delight, right? It's this feeling that you get that you weren't necessarily expecting. You knew that you were going to solve a problem to some degree, but then it was solved in a way that you never even really knew that you needed to have it solved. And
Right.
and that's what makes it fun, what we do. And it also is the reason why having people like yourself or myself or Ryan, business partner, be aquarists, be people who've done this for a long time, be people who have seen all of these ways that it's been done and know what we wished we could have or what we wished we could do, and then give it to all of you. That's what I think. That's where the whole thing really comes together, and that's a great segue into why the Insight exists at all, right? So let's talk a little bit first about the Insight and about the idea and the reason for it. I personally had an epiphany a little while ago, probably 4 years or so ago, that is just like, man, I know we're creating apps and everything, right? And they're all important for us to have, but all of my, look at that. I didn't do that. It decided to do it on its own. That's pretty funny. That these apps are great, but you don't always have your phone in your hand, or nor do you want it. This really is not. Sorry, wrong one. I was trying to turn it off.
Right, it's telling you to get to the chase. Cut to the chase, Dan.
Yeah, so you want something, you don't, I guess the way I've explained it to other people is you don't want your Nest thermostat always in your pocket. You want to walk by it and see it. You want to see what's going on. You want to have that anxiety of what's happening in your aquarium very easy for you to know. And that's really what the impetus was for having this particular product. The interesting comparison here is with the Neptune Systems display module, and you're used to seeing something like that goes and connects directly into your Apex in order to get that. Now, the Insight itself doesn't require you to plug it into, it just requires power. It doesn't have to be plugged into your Apex. And it picks up the network traffic, so to speak, of your Apex to be able to show you everything that's there. How does that exactly work, Joe?
It pretty much works exactly the same as if you've ever used Apex.local, your local dashboard.
Right.
So the same way that your web browser can reach out and talk to the Apex directly, the Insight can reach out and talk to the Apex directly as well.
So this is here's an Apex, right? Inside this little box, okay, is a computer that's on your network, and it's actually got a web server on it, and it's also talking out to the cloud. But at the same time, inside your house, you have your own little web server that can be connected into what's called, the Apex local or Apex.local. We connect to that data, that information locally, and then parse it and do all kinds of magic stuff that Joe does and put it onto the display. The display itself is a very nice IPS LCD display. It has various modes on it, if you guys haven't seen this before, so that this you really can see from across the room. It shows all of the information. Then at the same time, if you have something that's kind of out of range, and I'm going to actually go to another screen here so we can see Joe's, which is much more interesting than mine on my system right now. Let's see if I can just show that. Oh, look at that. So there's Joe's system, and you can see a whole bunch of stuff going on here. That, first of all, this is a main home screen where you see 6 of the most key items. And one of the things that I'm heaping on praise to Joe that I credit him for is, we often think of these things that we have to configure first before they, start really working the way that we want them to. And Joe was like, no, we know what people pretty much all want to see as the most critical things, or the things that they have on their Apex. Let's just show that to begin with. So we sat down and brainstormed all that stuff out and ended up with pH, your temperature. In this case, Joe's showing his sump temperature, which is different from his tank temperature, evidently, and he's more interested in that. And he's got his phosphate, but in the one that comes stock, it would be pH, temperature, salinity, which most people have, and then it would be alkalinity, calcium, and magnesium, which if you have a Trident, those things would go there. Now, if you also notice on this screen, because I'm just going to talk about the home screen first, you'll see in the upper left corner there's some other data up there, and that data shows the temperature of the room, the humidity of the room, and really important piece of data that most people have not been paying a lot of attention to directly. It happens to them indirectly, which is the CO2. And so this is the Pro model. So there's a difference between our two products, a Pro model and a standard model. And the standard model doesn't give you the room ambient data, but our Pro model does. And why do you think that's important for you to see that CO2, Joe?
Oh, man, that's such a great question. I actually struggled. I've been doing reef tanks for, I think, close to 15 years now. And I had pretty good success at the beginning doing nano tanks. I moved to a different house. All of a sudden, every tank I set up was terrible for like 3 straight years, and I couldn't figure out why. It turns out living in Florida and having your windows closed with air conditioning pumping all the time means that all of the CO2 that we breathe out never has anywhere to escape. So that just builds up in your house all the time. Now, it's not something that we measure, so most people don't realize that. But me having a reef tank, I was fighting a constant battle of never being able to get my pH above like 7.9.
Yep.
And I love Acropora. I love hard corals. I love the really difficult, like the more difficult the coral is, that's probably the one I want. And it turns out you can't really run a successful reef tank when your daily low is 7.6 and your daily high is like barely in the 7.9s. Yep. And a friend of mine basically pointed that out, who had been living in Florida for much longer than I had. And he didn't quite say, hey, your CO2's built up. But what he said was, you probably need more fresh air. And I made it a point to open my windows more. And my roommates weren't super stoked about that because it's very hot in Florida. But in the name of the reef tank, that sure enough worked. So I've actually had a CO2 monitor in my house for probably close to like 7 years now. And I think I have 3 now, one in each room that I find important, one right here in my office with me. So that CO2 building up in your house drives down the pH in your tank, which makes it harder for your corals to grow. It doesn't make them impossible for your corals to grow, but it makes it a lot harder for your corals to grow. So keeping an eye on that, even if it's just a gut check to say, hey, maybe I should open the windows when it cools off later tonight. Or next time we get some warmer weather, if you're in a winter condition, I think that's a good thing for all of our reef tanks, that we just at least know about it. It's not something that you can quite control for, right? But it's something we can know about. I know that some of our early testers had some parties, right, where they invited a bunch of people over, and just having 6 or 7 people in a room looking at your tank for a couple hours, like that CO2 spiked into the 2000 range, which is, that's getting up there to where it's like unhealthy for people to work in those environments.
Yeah, so it actually is a health issue for some people that they never know is happening. And the interesting thing is, one of those standalone CO2 monitors, if the ones that are worth the salt, because there's 2 different kinds. There's those that calculate out CO2 from other data, and there's those like Joe's holding up right now, which use a very similar, if not the same, kind of advanced sensor that we use in the Insight to actually measure the CO2. It's got an encapsulated little set of tubes in it, and it's really cool to look at. But the cool part is that it's only a a $40 upgrade over the base unit that you get all of those features. And it must be working for people because most people are buying the pro version of the product because it's worth $40 to get those features. Another thing, real quickly here, you'll notice that some of the dials have colors on them, and I'm assuming that's because those are the ranges of that you have set up, Joe, for like safety ranges on your tank.
Yeah, exactly. So the alkalinity and calcium, the bottom left to bottom middle, those are not where I want them right now. So most of us that have an Apex setup probably have went and set alarm ranges for the low end or the high end of a probe or your Trident.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really helpful when you get the alarm that it's out of the range. But what you don't get from that is an indicator when you're approaching that range, when you're getting close enough. So your temperature might be trending towards bad. I personally don't want it to get to bad before I know about it. So what we're doing here is we show, it's called like an early warning system. So we're showing you a gradient of where your alkalinity here or calcium goes from okay to maybe you want to look at it to okay, now it's a problem. And then once it actually does hit your alarm, you'll get your normal Apex alarm. And then we have even more alarms built into here that you can go into next.
Yeah, it's very important to note what Joe's talking about here is that the Insight, it does interact with things, but it mostly is a reading device, right? So it's mostly seeing what you have set up on your Apex and delivering information to you, much of which is being delivered to you in a different way than you'd get it from your Apex dashboard and from other things. And so in this case, many people don't even know that they have these ranges set up or have configured them. They might have done it during the initial Apex setup or somebody else did it for them. And those numbers may or may not align for how you want to run your reef tank. So you'd have to go in there and change those. But in addition to that showing up there, I see you have a yellow thing in the upper right over here, right? So
right.
The extension of this early warning, not just to see it visibly here on these dials, Joe and I basically said, it's great, again, to get an alarm when something's really bad, but what if I kind of knew it was leading into it? So for certain parameters that are more critical, like your temperature, your alkalinity and whatnot, we've got this available, this early warning system. Again, from across the room, you can say, oh, look, something isn't quite right. And it pops up. And Joe, you can tap on that, right? Show what comes up when you tap.
Yeah, of course. I don't think it's coming through the video very well, but what it does is it aggregates all of the sensors that are either in an early warning state or in an alarm state.
Mm-hmm.
And then it shows them to you in a scrolling marquee. So you can see the name real quick just from this badge. And then across the bottom here, you can actually see how many things are problematic. Yeah, I don't know that that's coming through very well.
No, still not.
But either way, it's one spot that when you look across the room, you can see a splash of color that goes, hey, come over here and tap me so you can see what's up. Once you tap, then we're showing you all of the active alarms or warnings. We're indicating warnings by this orangish yellow color, and we indicate alarms by red. After you tap into any one of these things, you have snooze options and a couple settings. So the Insight is not really where you want to go to do a bunch of configuration. But if you do have an alarm that pops up and you want to either snooze that for a couple days or change the way the alarm works, it's very easy to do that straight from the screen. So I could actually turn off early warnings on this. So now alkalinity is fine. I don't have an alert anymore. And I can go back. And my only two alerts now are the two remaining ones there. Let's say that I know that nitrate's going to be low for a couple days because I ordered more additive. I can snooze it. And then once it's snoozed, it'll show as snoozed and tell you how much time you have remaining.
That's very
and
cool.
then when I get back,
actually haven't used
and then
that
when I get back to
feature
the
yet.
home screen.
Just so people know, these things.
Oh, you should try it.
Yeah, these are really new features, and I haven't tested through every single condition like the one he just showed. So I'm really excited for all of you to get this, and for the ability to join in the discussion on our Discord and whatnot to say, hey, what if it did this or what if it did that? It's a great point to make that right now. That's really how we operate too. Is through the Discord channel, and Joe is on there all the time. So you can come in and say, yeah, what if it did this or what if it did that? So really neat. Go on, Joe.
Some of the ideas have already come from the Discord channel. Honestly, it's fantastic as people are throwing ideas around and kind of brainstorming. It's really nice to see that. So now you can see I snoozed an alarm and I dismissed one. So I turned one off, actually. I said in those settings, I don't really care about alkalinity being low. I don't want an early warning just telling me when it blows up, basically. Mm-hmm. So now you see that widget's not showing the early warning anymore. It doesn't catch your attention. You can just move on with your day. Everything's fine. But calcium is still showing a warning, so that still shows up there. I think I snoozed that other one for 30 days. I wasn't actually paying attention. But in 30 days, if that alarm is still active, that'll pop right back up as it was before.
Don't have to do anything.
And then I can deal with it then.
This is really handy for like the 1 hour one. Like if you have a leak, I don't know if you have the emergency kind of one that shows on there or not, but I know this is for real. This is real tank.
Yeah, we're doing live demos here, so we don't record anything.
But when you do have a critical situation, it'll pop up red. The whole screen will fill with red. And imagine if you had a leak. You want to go mop up the leak or fix the leak, and you don't want that thing screaming at you while you're doing it. Yeah, I get it. I know I'm taking care of this. So you can snooze it for an hour, go take care of it, and then it's back live again in case it were to happen again.
Yeah, and at the moment we do have kind of 3 levels of alarm. We have these warnings that just show mostly yellow. Yellow orange is kind of the color tone that you'll see when it's a warning. We have red for, it's bad, your temperature's too high or your phosphate's too high, whatever. And then we actually have the emergency level, which you already said is like a leak. At the moment, the only thing that gets elevated to an emergency are water on floor sensors. But if those do get wet, you get a large red screen and the buzzer starts going off. So you should hear it somewhere in your house. Alert. Yep. And you just, the audible alert. You just got to come up and tap the screen once and that audible alert will snooze. And then you can choose what to do with the emergency. You can let it come back on in 5 minutes, or you can go ahead and snooze it for longer, or you can just turn that off outright. If you need to go clean it up or you decide it's a false alarm, you can just turn it off and not worry about it again.
So we're going to try to move this along. So let's go and just show, before we get into the new stuff, real quickly, I'm going to bring you over into this window. Let's show everybody how you change, for instance, I don't want to put PO4 on here. I want to put we don't want your salinity because your salinity doesn't look great. You put whatever you want there in its place for your PO4 there and just take them through kind of. So in the middle here, you see an app, and our app is called My Aquarium. It is right now, the only thing it's being used for is the Insight, but stay tuned because we have a lot of things planned to that AvidAqua. But you connect to your Insight through Bluetooth, right? Is how it gets connected.
Yes.
And then you get this screen, and now you can select if you have more than one of Insight, it'll pop up there, right? It'll show up more than one of them. Yep. You can select which one it is, and you tap on it and configure it. So go for it, Joe.
Sure. So this one's obviously already configured. It'll look a little different if you're doing the first unboxing. It's a little more obvious just to begin setup. But once you're here, we have, and this is live too. This is a live app connected to this exact Insight that you guys are looking at.
This is here we have territory, demo territory,
demo territory. Either works or it doesn't. Let's see what happens. So what we've been working on the most here is the ability to customize. So now we're seeing an example of what we would see on the Insight, including the other screens that the Insight has.
Which we're going to talk about in a moment.
So, right. So we'll get there. It's a nice little teaser. So if I want to change phosphate, I just tap phosphate and then browse through all of my other sensors.
Notice how they're categorized, which is really cool. So this is something, let me jump in here, that is or was always the biggest thing that aggravated me in the Apex, is that you had to scroll through everything. There wasn't any real categorization. So every time you wanted to change something on your dashboard, you're trying to zip through and find where that new thing is. And it was really difficult. The way that Joe has basically used some intelligence in our system to say, oh, this one must be a pH thing, this one must be this, and put them all in there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so basically, the categorization should help to jump. You can swipe through the categories if you want, and just say like, I really know this is going to be a level sensor. You could jump to your level sensors and see both of them right there.
Oh, that's good. That's cool. Show me those.
If you're not sure, you should be able to search nitrate.
Also super helpful. Gosh.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, oops. So I basically am just going to browse for the sensor I want and replace it.
Put one of those level sensors on there. I want to see it nice and large on there. And then
okay. Yeah, let's put a level sensor on. Let's do my return chamber.
Wow, look at that.
Just like that.
So sexy.
So now that water level will raise and lower as the water level in the return chamber raises and lowers. And as it same thing, if it has alarms, you'll hit a warning band, and then eventually you'll go above your alarm, and we use yellow and red for that all the same.
So cool. All right. So
let's talking about this sump temperature, by the way, I just wanted to mention that. So normally for most people, you might only have one temperature probe on your tank, right?
Yeah. Most people.
Why would you have two? Yeah. But I'm Joe, and I have 35 modules on my Apex. So I have multiple other temperature probes that I don't actually use for anything. So what we've done on the Insight is if there's only one of something, we use a common readable name. So if there's one temperature sensor, it's just temperature. It's not TEMP or TMP or some abstract thing that you're not going to remember. Instead of, ALKX something X something, we're just going to say alkalinity. But some people have more than one temperature probe, more than one trident. So for those power users, instead of using a human readable one that might not be clear as to which temperature probe you're talking about, we'll just use your Apex names instead. So we're trying to be extra readable for the common person who has like one of everything. But we're also accommodating the power users who have 35 of everything.
Very, very cool. So this level sensor would also have these same alerts and whatnot that can come up, right? And tell me when. No, excellent. Okay, well, we're going to move this along. It's been really good intro to people to see what the Insight is, but we've got new features to go over. The Insight to date has been mostly a viewing device, not an interactive device where you do things on your aquarium, until this most recent release where we wanted to tackle that. So the first thing that people are familiar with on an Apex configuration are feed modes when you want to do something on the tank. So we thought that'd be the best first place to start of how can we allow people to start off feed modes and make it better than it was before. So if you simply swipe right, you'll see it's on the left. Is that a swipe right? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's a swipe right.
I always get that confused. You swipe right, you see the thing on the left. And you'll see the 4 feed modes. And this is where it was another thing that I always thought we could improve upon, which is, why should I have to remember what my feed mode A is, my feed mode B is, my C, D, and then trying to explain to somebody else who's taking care of my tank, and then they have to remember or write it down or what have you. So what we did was, it's kind of obvious really, you can rename your feed modes to whatever you want, and then they'll display on here the exactly way. And again, all the configuration happens in the My Aquarium app. So show them how that works, Joe.
Cool. So first off, do you even use all your feed modes for feeding related tasks?
No, nobody does.
Okay, cool. I use one feed mode for feeding related tasks, and all the rest are just timers.
Okay.
And as we've talked to more customers, we've realized that's almost the most common use case is temporary timers. So
timers, for instance, let me just explain that for some of the people. So
sure.
Let's say you want to put your tank into a mode to take pictures of your tank, and you want all of the pumps to shut off and the lights to go to a certain mode. Or maybe you're going to for the next hour, you're going to be doing a water change. So you want your return pump to shut off and your power heads to shut off and the lights to go to dim or whatever it may be. Those are kind of operations that you can also set up on your feed modes, but you're not feeding your fish. So go ahead, Joe.
So for my tank, I had these named before, but I'm going to rename them now. For my tank, feed A is feed the fish. If I ever have someone come over, they need to know that. That's the one they need to press. The rest of them, I don't want them to press because feed B is storm waves.
Okay.
So that changes my wave makers into a really chaotic kind of thing that kicks up detritus. I usually just turn that on. I think it's, what is it, 45 minutes?
Right.
Run it every once in a while. Feed C, in my case, is chill waves. So like what you said, where you'd want to calm the waves down so you could take photos of stuff without it being blown all over the place. And then for me, feed D is maintenance. When I hit feed D, did I spell that right? There we go. When I hit feed D, it pretty much shuts my stuff off so that I can go change my vortex and then put them back on. And then the timers resume.
So now the other thing is always once you do these things, seeing where how much time was left and whatnot was hard to see also on your dashboard or what have you. And you've incorporated a change to that as well, right?
Yeah, of course. So you basically tap it and it starts the countdown timer. And that's the whole thing.
Yeah, and so you can go back to your home screen, right? And on your home screen, you can have it there, and it's doing its normal thing. You come back 10 minutes later, you're like, oh, is there any feed mode still running? You swipe back, and you get to see your timer that's still counting down over there. I hope you guys like that. And if you guys are out there, feel free to chime in with questions or anything on the comments. I am watching them coming in. Give us your hardest question, I guess, or give Joe the hardest question. Not me. But I really appreciate you guys, having in here. And, if you want to share this afterward with, obviously some other people probably get some advantage out of this as well. So let's see. So look, somebody already is coming in and says, let's see. Mike Spencer says, love the feed mode UI. There you go, Joe. There's some love for you there.
Awesome. Glad you like it.
And, let's see, is that going to go away? Yeah, good. And so, okay, so that's the feed mode stuff. That's one addition that we have, along with the alarm stuff. Kind of a lot of new alarm stuff has come in recently. Now, the next thing is there's other things that you often want to do on your aquarium. Sometimes they might be individual outlets that you want to change the state on, and other times you have these things called virtual outlets that you might want to turn on or off, which are kind of like quasi macros or what have you on your aquarium. So what we wanted to do is not be a replacement for your dashboard. It's too complex. You don't need all of that, but you do want to have a few things from time to time that you can have access to quickly from a device like the Insight. So let's show the outlet screen now, Joe.
Sure.
So now you swipe left, and now you can see the outlets there. And I'm going to actually go to the other screen so we can see it a little bit closer for this. Let's see here. There we go. So now you can see we have 6 of them on here. And again, I'm going to pile on praise to Joe because, he keeps me. So I'm like, why don't we just have them? They'll come in, they'll pick which one, they'll configure it. We'll be done. And Joe's like, no. We can be smarter than that. I can look at this stuff and know more or less what are the most likely things that people are going to want to have on here. And we'll make a good first guess. And maybe we'll get 80% of it right, and that's a better start than starting from a blank canvas. And so that's what Joe did, and the algorithm goes out and picks what it thinks is going to be the best stuff. How do you do that, Joe? I mean, without giving too many traits.
I can't tell you that, Terrence. No, the general idea is that we basically looked at the types of things that people were turning on and off manually, because a lot of things in an Apex system turn on and off automatically. Those are obviously not things that you need to come in and interact with on a regular basis. So as we kind of collected what people told us they were using the most, we started to see patterns in that.
And we did get a lot of feedback on this on the Discord channel. This is a good example of how we, with our early adopters and alpha/beta, whatever people went through, and some of it, there was a little bit of stuff that didn't quite work the way we wanted it to, but that's why we do that. But they provided a lot of input. Go ahead.
Yeah, so without spilling too much, basically what we learned is that people want to turn off their filtration items more often than not. And then past their filtration items, essentially top-offs and wave makers. And that makes sense because those are all things we have to do manual maintenance on a regular basis.
Right.
So using that as a starting point and knowing that some people have literally 90 controls on their apexes or more, we gave it our best effort to pick, what we think you might want to use. But maybe not. Maybe it's like the home screen and you have a Salinity probe that's not working and you want to take that off there and replace it with something else.
Yeah. So if you want to configure, let's see that.
So now this should look familiar. We're still in this customization menu in our app, and what you see on the screen is what you see on the Insight. It's as simple as that. If you want to change it, you just tap what you want to change, and then same thing. You're going to browse through a catalog of all of the devices, all the controllable devices that are on your Apex, being filtered, hopefully filtered accurately. If not, come on our Discord and tell us what didn't get filtered accurately, and we'll make it better. But let's say that I want to see my calcium reactor dose right there, just to make sure it's on.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it there, and that's it. It's the whole thing.
Very cool. Now show how I'll go back to that other screen so we have a little bit more close up.
Sure.
How we actually interact with it to do something.
So this is the most contentious part of how to interact with controls on an Apex. I'm sure anyone watching knows that you have on, off, auto. I think we have two camps of people. One camp is they put everything into auto because they know that it's programmed properly and they want the Apex to have control over it. And then another camp of people who just want to turn things on and off, and they don't care whether the Apex has rules or a program or a schedule or whatnot. So at the moment, the default is the auto camp. If you're the type of person that set up your auto top off, you would normally leave it in auto. If you put it in on, it'll run 24/7, and you don't want that. If you put it in off, it never runs, and that's bad too. So the default interaction mode right now is one tap turns it off, and another tap puts it back on auto, and you basically shift between off and auto as needed. If you want to put it in manual on, you have to do something that's a little bit harder than just a tap. You long press, and then you'll see the kind of orange glow around it, suggesting that, hey, this thing is like on. This is not going to turn back off. And it does say always on at the bottom there.
Right.
So the idea being that we want to encourage everyone to stay between off and auto and never accidentally turn something on and leave it on.
No, this is great. And again, this is where there was a lot of contention, a lot of Joe and I have a great relationship where we talk through a lot of these things, and he challenges a lot of stuff. You see, it just went off there, his auto top off. So now you can see.
So I turned it fully on, so it started to fill up, and then once it hit its timeout, it went back to off. So that's I know people do that on a regular basis. They'll just turn something on and then put it back to auto right away after.
Yeah, and in the end, I'll just say I think Joe got it spot on, and so far people, they're loving this feature of the Insight, and to kind of wrap it up with this, really, the thing here is how do we keep adding really useful features to products that we have and continue to evolve them to what people want, what they need, what they tell us they need. This is what we're doing with the Insight. We've got more stuff that's coming, down the pike for sure to improve it. So if you decide you want to buy an Insight, what you see today is going to change for the better tomorrow. That's just the way it is. So we're not going to tell you what all of those things are. But if you join our Discord, you probably would get some good insight on what some of those things may be, but better yet, you can help set that direction yourself by participating and be a part of that. And part of that, here's one right here, Joe, for you, which is, let's see if I can get this on here. There it is. Still planning on a possible dimming option, right?
Yes. That was honestly one of my favorite suggestions that we got on the Discord so far. And what started as I just want the screen to dim at night turned into, potentially having a whole night mode where we have a red interface that's easy to look at without blowing, your irises out and making it so you can't look at the tank right afterwards. So yes, that is definitely still on the way. just a little bit further down the pipeline.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody else gives you a little love here on this one. They like that, and
Yeah, the goal is to make it so that you can't walk by and miss it. That's for sure.
yeah,
We want you to know.
and then somebody who's in our beta group, same Corey guy, he's like, yeah, I love the fact that the new stuff is coming on. So, and want to thank this person here, Q8 Marine, who just bought one and can't wait to try it out. So, yeah,
Awesome.
I think you're going to be really, really happy about that. Anyway, Joe, I'm going to wrap
Terrence,
it up.
Can
go ahead.
Wait, there's one more thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Can you throw this back up? I got one more extra goodie to show you guys.
Is it on just on the inside or wrong one? You're not on yet. You're not on yet.
Too soon. Yeah, on the app. The app and the insight's fine. It'll be very quick.
Oh, you want the app? Okay.
Yep.
There you go.
Cool. So a lot of you guys have been asking, is my CO2 calibrated properly? So yeah. we have a new menu in here. So this is our CO2 calibration menu. When you come in here, you can see the last time it's been calibrated. It'll tell you if it's been calibrated. We do calibrate at factory. We've been changing our calibration strategy as we learn more about it. So this new app UI should allow you guys to go validate that it's calibrated. The live CO2 card at the bottom here, this is streaming exactly what the Insight sees. And right below that, you can see it says normal indoor air. So there's a little categorization thing. If you take it and put it outside, it should say fresh air within a few minutes. Inside your house, it should say normal indoor air, or maybe, high CO2 if you are like me, where you haven't opened your windows in like 6 months. But in order to calibrate, all you got to do is...
Just so people know, if you do want to take it outside, this will run off of a battery. It's just a regular USB-C kind of device. So if you want to calibrate it outside, just grab yourself one of your little battery packs and you can take it wherever you want.
Yeah, so I use a little power bank. I plug it in. The power bank runs it for like 2 days straight. So all I do is I just set it outside somewhere it's not going to get rained on or get wet, obviously, and then start the calibration from your phone. It usually takes 2 to 3 minutes. It can take about as much as 10 minutes. But this is basically just going to sniff around and for fresh air until it's fully calibrated, and then you bring it back inside and everything's good to go.
Excellent. Let's see, get back to this. Anyway, once again, Joe, thanks so much. You are right for this audience. You know how to speak for the audience, even when a guy like myself is like, no, this is good enough. Let's go to market. And you're like, no, it's not. It's not good enough. So
it can always be better.
It always can be better, and that is so pleasing when many times you're faced with engineering situations where it's like you don't realize how difficult that's going to be, and this and that, and it's like to have the absolute inverse of that is a pleasure for me. So thank you so much, Joe, and
thank you, Terrence.
Let's get back and quash those bugs, okay?
All right.
I'm sure I'll be talking to you later. go get rid of them. Take it easy, Joe. Take it easy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's Joe, and we're going to now kind of switch gears. It's about this time also to get this going, and to do that, I'm going to bring my partner Ryan in on the stream to talk about the next new product, which is we'll have that part of the discussion when I bring him on about pet projects and pet products for the company. So let me bring Ryan on here. And there's Ryan. Awesome. This is Ryan, and one of the founders of AvidAqua with me, and the guy responsible for so much of this kind of stuff for sure, right? So as much as Joe is Mr. Digital, Ryan is Mr. Tactical. Anyway, I don't have any audio from you. I've got to get you unmuted here. There, now I got audio.
Thank you. I said I'd go with tactical. That works.
Yes, it's very tactical. So Ryan is in his awesome studio too at home there with where all kinds of things happen. I don't know. Do you still have 3D printers in there, Ryan?
Yeah, I got a fleet of them next to me, and I can't pan the camera to the side because I'd be giving away like the next 6 months of fun.
Yeah.
But
no, it's good. Yeah, we do a lot of 3D printing, or I should say Ryan does a lot of 3D printing. I don't do any 3D printing over here. And we do it for, obviously building out new products and coming up with new designs and everything like that. And then we do have some parts that ship with our products that are 3D printed parts for various reasons. But enough of that. On the subject of new products, each of us has kind of our thing, right? And Ryan, across time, has obviously concepted a lot of these products before coming together with me to build AvidAqua under Slide Lock. So from the frag racks to the probe holders and other things that then together we co-developed the evolution into the next thing. Some of these things he's more passionate about than I am, let's just say, in terms of bringing them to market. And the one from the outset that's still out there that he knows I'm going to bring up is which product do you think, Ryan?
That you're going to say that was my thing that you just couldn't stand?
That we had to bring to market. And I was like,
the sawfish.
The sawfish.
All day, every day. Not everybody wants some big obnoxious frag rack in their tank. Sometimes they want to clip it right to the back of their overflow, put some glorious monopora facing towards the front so they can see it, and know they can remove the dang thing later if they want.
Yeah, so the sawfish was one that, I didn't necessarily want to bring to market because I didn't think it'd sell that well, and I have to eat crow. It sold way better than I ever thought it would. So that's kind of the segue into drum roll to the next product, if I can find the right thing. Here we go. Boom. Let's see if this comes up. Oh, Ryan's not on there yet. I got to put Ryan on. Hang on. We're going to go back to here, and we're going to put Ryan on with let's see here. Sorry, guys. You don't want one of me. I have to put Ryan on. Let's hope it. Oh, no.
Hey, while you're stalling, I was going to say on the Insight, one of the things that's pretty cool about that is Joe did a great job of where it finds what sensors you have and populates the front page for you.
Yeah.
So if you're just running pH and temp, it'll pre-populate in the secondary temp or humidity or VOC or any of that stuff for you.
I think I know what I got to do here. Sorry, guys. I didn't test that one correctly on the second time. Let's go here. Back here. There we go. We're just going to be big at first. All right. There we go. Now we're there. So the new product. Sorry, drum roll again, if I can have it. And everybody give your, little bit of applause.
But it's just fun to say. Let's be real. It's just fun to say.
It is the Kneader Heater. Okay, so this is a product where I am the person who sits and thinks on product names forever. Okay, forever. And the first thing I do is I come up with kind of a code name, right, for a product, and then usually you don't use that one. In this case, we pretty much decided on the code name, and that became the product name. It was just too fun not to use and call it the Kneader Heater. And I'll tell you what, I saw a video from BRS today that they put out, and watching somebody else say it on a video really, really made me chuckle. That was really, really good. So in light of that, I'm actually going to pour myself a beverage now because, it warrants a celebration. What am I drinking today? I am drinking a Hefeweizen, and I have the trusty Stein here in celebration. I will not pour it correctly, Ryan. I know you are the master of telling everybody if you pour the beer correctly. Tell them.
You put a lot of foam in it, and then all the head rises to the top collection cup.
Oh, there we go. Let's see if I can.
I got that thing built perfectly. So a 12-ounce glass goes right to the bottom of the neck.
Okay.
And then all of that foam will sit. Well, you put way too much foam in there. That's your problem. But
I did not adjust the skimmer correctly, I guess. Okay, so we will go with that, and then look at that. Everybody just. Those are the greatest. And they have been for sale on the channel. I think saltwateraquarium.com has has had those for sale for some time, I believe. They did pick up a bunch of them. I don't know if
They sold out.
They sold
They
out.
sold out.
And he didn't reorder any, and now I'm promoting it. So Ken
Well,
is
I gotta harass Ken. I've been trying to get him all this other stuff.
Yeah, I know. So we got to get he's going to watch this and be like, "Oh hell, are you kidding me? I'm out of stock on those cuz somebody's going there right now to buy them."
They work pretty good with the Irish beer. I'm not gonna lie. You get a little green beer in there, and it gives
That's
a little
right, it was
authenticity.
All right. Well, let's roll through this content real quickly, and then we're going to have a kind of a live demo with Ryan showing us through all this stuff. First and foremost, it's pretty obvious, I think, for people that you need to have something to mount your heater. Again, back to projects, and again, things that I wasn't super excited about. Ryan has been excited about this one forever, and I was like, heater holder, really? People are going to want this? And because, our products are not cheap because we use really high quality components and high quality magnets and everything. I'm like, really? It's like some people have a $40 heater and they're going to spend, $50 on a heater holder. He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, all right, let's build it. Right.
Once you've been burned once, you don't want to get burned again.
So, first of all, it holds on to up to 1/2 inch with a pro model, and the regular model is up to 3/8. But let's face it, most people are putting these in a sump, and so it's going to be more than strong enough. And we'll show it in the demo here in a second. It fits all the heaters that most people are going to use because it goes up to 1 inch on the heaters. You can run it obviously horizontal or vertical. The key things that we wanted to obviously describe to people is, first of all, it uses our Mod Mag. Not going to sit here and get deep into what the Mod Mag is or why it's important, but it is the only, double sealed ABS magnetic enclosure that's not going to leak with a lifetime guarantee on the internet. That's my ShamWow. I don't think we've had a single one now in a year after launching this particular product that's been on the lifetime warranty. If you have Ryan, tell everybody, but I don't believe so.
I mean, I had thousands out before this Gen 4 version, and we haven't had any that have been reported back to me.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. So as you can see, it uses the silicone, which is heat proof, just like the stuff that you use in your kitchen, that you can put in your oven and everything else. So it'll hold the titanium heaters. It'll hold the glass heaters. No thumb screws, no other weird straps that you got to stretch over the top of it. You just slide them in and they're secure. Really, really handy. And it gets better because you can also make it stronger or available to take longer or bigger or heavier heaters, or you just want a more secure option. The Neater Heater Pro comes with 2 of the Mod Mags. So you get 2 of these. And it comes with these cool little attachments that now, and this is not just for the Neater heater, by the way. I'm sure other people that will use these for other purposes. It makes one big heater bar out of it. So it adds more strength, or you can run them separately. So if you want even bigger heaters and you want them to be separate, you can run them that way as well. As I said, it'll work with up to 3/8 inch on the standard, up to 1/2 inch on the Neater Heater Pro. It'll really do more than that, probably. We are definitely underrating this. You don't want to read all of that, and that's not that important. So let's kick it right over to show Ryan playing with this in real life. Let's see if I don't mess this one up. There we go. And we'll kill that one. There we go. Okay, Ryan, so show us it in real life.
So first and foremost, I'm just showing both the base and the Pro. So we've got the base up top here and Pro underneath. And I'll just, you can see like on the top one, this is a pretty standard thickness that somebody would have in their sump. It's, basically a 1/4 inch, right? Mm-hmm. And it's holding the 2 heavy titaniums without any trouble. And a couple other things that we'll show as far as how to do the install, but I'll take that off for a moment. And then when you get down to like the Pro model, I got this basically on 1/2 inch, just so that we can see.
So you got 2 layers of the acrylic there. Hold it up a little higher. Yeah, so you can see his 2 layers of acrylic there, and he's got the 2 magnets connected together with the joiners that we have, the Mod Mag joiners. And you can see how strong it is when it comes together.
I just like to hear the slap.
Yeah.
So
and
it does what it
you're
needs
not using
to do.
the silicone, the gripper on it, right? But it does come with silicone grippers. So
no, I've got the silicone gripper on the Pro right now, and I was going to show it on the base one, but you can see that right there.
Okay. Yep.
So
that adds just a little bit more stiction, right? So especially when you're talking about up and down, like you get more than enough strength going this way, but when you have two surfaces that are smooth, even with the stiction, you can have a little bit of slide. So that silicone gripper actually allows you to not have that happen as easily.
Yep. So got the titanium heaters, and they slide in, fit really nice. Part of the thing that anybody's had a tank running for a while, so I've had saltwater aquariums running now for 25 years this year. These things will get covered in verminted snails or take your pick of gunk. And then when you go to try to get them out, it can be a pain. So that's where the silicone comes in, because you can just strip it right out of there, pull that heater out, scrape it clean, put it back in. Super easy that way. But they hold really, really well. And just to kind of illustrate, going to over a 1/2 inch thick, it supports the full weight of that without trouble. And specifically, I wanted to make these where they supported the weight outside of the water, because if they can support it out of the water, they'll support it in the water.
Yeah, no doubt.
So the fun thing that, just to nerd out a little bit, if you're sitting there and you're like, man, I got like 1 inch thick sumps, I've got an 8,000 gallon system, you could, because we've got these little kind of tuning forks that we use to bind the magnets together. That's what they remind me of anyways. And so you could go in and say, you know what?
If you're a one-upper, if you're a guy who's a one-upper, right?
Like, I've got this extra Mod Mag laying around that I could use. You could put 3 together. I don't care. You could put 7 of them together. You could have a super magnet. So you could have some fun with that.
Yeah, and also, again, this is another platform where you could use, and I don't have one handy here, and I should have one handy, the AvidCam, right? So if you already have these magnets on the, you have that too, right? So that's also possible, but the AvidCam with the rail.
On the rail.
Right, it allows you to, if you wanted to see your sump, right? You're already going to have these magnets on there. You slide in the AvidCam attachment, which costs you like $17, and now you can mount any other kind of camera, an old iPhone, anything you want to it. There you go. Look at them separate.
So the other thing that's kind of fun, especially with some of the freshwater guys, they've got these monster long glass heaters. And the problem is when you have, say, like the base model here, just the regular long heaters, there's a lot of torque there, and when that cord gets in there and stuff, it might wiggle this way more than you want. And so you can separate those out, and now you've got really, really good control for the length of the magnet, or the length of the heater, excuse me. And then you put, of course, your second one in there, and that gives you your redundancy. A lot of people ask, like, why do we have 2 of them? If you're not familiar, 2 heaters, if one of them fails, especially if you're like an Apex or one of the other controller users, you're sitting there saying, hey, if one of my heater fails, it's often going to fail in the on position, and you want that thing killed so there's no power going to it, but you need your other one to make sure that it's working. So we figured the highest use case is going to be for 2 heaters to be able to be used in conjunction. And then the other part of that is to say, what's going to give you the most opportunity for success as a reef keeper? Well, it's going to be
I think,
2 heaters.
And if you do 2 heaters, like on the Apex, like a lot of people, they'll stagger the temperatures too. So 1 heater is enough to heat their tank, and they know that they don't have to be switching on and off so much the heater. It's easier on the heater itself by not cycling so many times. And so they'll run 1 heater, and then if it gets super, super cold, it's in their basement or whatever, certain times of the year, the other heater can kick in if it had to. That's the way a lot of people run it. So let's see, we got some questions here. Let's see here. There's a lot of praise out there in the comments, so that's good. This is one that, here's a question for you, Ryan. Will there be different diameters?
Don't need two. That's why we got silicone.
Exactly.
That sucker is made for the fattest of fat heaters, and it also holds the skinniest heaters. When I designed this, I bought 15 different heaters off the market that were highly used, and then I bought some of the ones that aren't highly used because I just wanted different lengths, different weights, different strengths. And so the silicone specifically designed to be able to be flexible so that as it's going in, it can hold the really big ones and have sufficient spacing because silicone is really, really safe for high temp.
And it
so
doesn't get hard either.
So,
and it doesn't like get brittle or
no,
hard like the suction cups do.
Lasts for years.
Yeah.
I've had countless products that I've used with our silicone now for years on end, and they still work great. So really, really good that way. But that's a good question.
Yeah, and then this one, of course, yes, people want it because the suction cups, they're not terrible. They suck.
Jimmy is responsible for the split.
Yeah. So, and then this one, any plans for a stronger magnet? I have all of your current options. Now, I don't know if Ron Rocky is asking about having stronger magnets for some of our other products, or if he's talking about the heater holder. I doubt there will ever be a package with a stronger one for the heater holder because it's really not necessary. And with the other products, everything that we do is really about demand. And to be frank, we haven't really had a whole lot of demand. If you have a need for 3/4 inch in the industry, which is a small percentage of people, does exist, the higher end people with larger tanks, we have the Giga magnet that you can buy, and then you can a la carte any of the frag racks for it. The probe holders have the ModMag Mega with it, and those do not have a Giga option, or they don't have an accessory option, and that's mainly because it's going to work up to 3/8 of an inch. Most people are going to again be using only up to 3/8 of an inch in their in their sump. But somebody, if they wanted to, they could buy the MPO with the magnet and buy the Giga and use the magnet for something else, the ModMag Mega. So
yeah, and I would just say, we're going to start offering these connectors. So if somebody wants to expand a second magnet set, that definitely increases your overall strength significantly. And so in those use cases where somebody says, I just don't care, I just want strong, that is a great way to do that. The part of the reason too we're just not going to do bigger is because it's highly cost prohibitive, and then it's also become frankly kind of dangerous. There's a lot of people that just don't understand how to handle a good magnet. And so you've got to draw the line eventually somewhere. So unfortunately, not
like the Giga
really
magnet,
in the cards in that way.
The Giga magnet alone, if you're not careful, even with our Giga magnet, you will get a blood blister from that thing. There's no, ask me how I know. And as Ryan knows too, we're messing around with magnets all the time and have some big magnets, and you can't even separate some of them without using some kind of a wood tool or something to get them apart. Yeah.
I was going to interject here for a second. So from a buying standpoint, where a lot of this came about is I'd gotten one that was advertised for a certain strength years ago and just simply wasn't good enough. And so put up with it for as long as I could. And then I turned around and bought another one, and then you're out the entire cost. So it was super frustrating. And so in this particular situation, two things can happen. You could buy this one, the base model, right? And then discover, it's just not cutting the mustard for me. I want it to be more secure. Just buy another magnet and go with it, and you can just expand it. And that can do a lot for you that way because it's so modular. Alternatively, you could say, hey, I got the Pro. I actually don't necessarily need that. But now I've got an extra set of magnets, and you could go around and buy any accessory you want, plug it in, and now you're ready to go.
Yeah, and that is the dirty little secret of buying the I'm giving it away, but oh well. If you buy the Kneader Heater Pro, the difference in the cost between the Kneader Heater and the Kneader Heater Pro is $20, and if you buy a ModMag Mega on its own, it's $25. So that is the kind of dirty little secret of if you find you don't need it, then you've got an extra magnet probably out there and saved yourself $5 for the for the person. And speaking of cost, they're $49.95, right, Ryan, for the
Yep.
the Neater heater, and $69.95, I believe. Is that correct? MSRP or MAP pricing for the Neater Heater Pro. And so, yeah, it's out there to, I believe, pre-order on some sites right now. Their shipments are arriving any day, right, Ryan? Ryan would know. Ryan manages all of that.
And we've been
Yes.
working our tails off trying to get that stuff fully out there and ready to go.
Yeah. So if you guys go place your orders at any of the main online sites right now, or even, at those places, you'll be able to get them within probably within a week and a half. They're probably going to have stock, by next week, I would say.
Oh, they'll definitely have stock next week. We're shipping tomorrow.
There you go. So, and also you should know that some outlets do have Insights in stock. So you can go out right now and check. I believe saltwateraquarium.com still has stock of both the base and the Pro. I believe Top Shelf still has just base units, I think. Am I saying that right, Ryan?
I believe so.
Yeah, and I think that's it for right now, but stock will be improving elsewhere in the next week. But after that, there might be a lull. So you might think that I'm here trying to push you to buy, but it's actually kind of a PSA. If you're thinking of buying one and you want it in the next couple of weeks or so and don't want to have to wait maybe 6 weeks or so, you should go buy one, because when they're out of stock this next time, it'll be for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's just the nature of the beast. You know, we're a small company getting going.
I'm trying to figure out what
making
demand's
waves,
going to
quite
be.
literally.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
demand was higher than we expected it to be. And we have more stuff coming in, and we're going to expedite to get it here. But even then, it takes a little bit of time. But thank you so much for everybody coming, and all of you who are on the chat, and, share the video for us. Kind of share our channels, share the YouTube channel, share everything you can. Get the word out about AvidAqua. We really, really appreciate all the engagement that we get. Visit our Discord channel if you're a customer, for sure. Even if you're not a customer, I think you can get on there and start to experience what it is to work with a company that's going to listen, and we're going to help build things that are going to be delightful for aquarium users. That is really what we're going to do. And thank you so much. Thank you, Ryan, for being on here and for being such a great partner. And till next time, I don't know what that's going to be. We should do these a little bit more regularly. But it's been fun. Thank you so much again for everybody out there. And till next time. Bye.
See everybody.